Hello and welcome to my channel, Talisman Tarot. In this reading I want to ask the cards what makes you so special, what makes you unique. And so I have 7 groups here for you. This will be group number 1, this will be group number 2, this will be group number 3, this will be group number 4, this will be group number 5, this will be group number 6, and this will be group number 7. And I will ask you to use your intuition and choose the group that speaks to you the most, the group that catches your eye. And if you need more time to choose the right group, you can always just pause the video. But if you don't, I'll just proceed to the reading. Hello, group number 1. You chose this Mochi marble and this Salvador Dali deck, tarot deck, and that already tells me that some of you might be creative, some of you might be really good at drawing or painting, or possibly also decorating and designing. Some of you could also be really good at makeup, but also like cosplay makeup. Like you could probably like paint someone's face so that they look like someone else or look like something else. Also, like you could maybe draw like or paint like a landscape on someone's face, or like I don't know, but I think that's what makes you unique, is possibly that you are very creative. If you're not like creative, if you don't have like any like creative skills like drawing or painting, I think this might be referring to you having a creative mind. You might think creatively, you might think outside the box. You might also be really good at visualizing things and picturing things and imagining things. Some of you might have really good imagination, and you might have had a good imagination since you were a child. Like it might have been really easy for you to imagine things and fantasize about things and dreaming about things. Some of you might be like daydreamers, so I think that's maybe something that other people might have like noticed is unique about you, is that you might daydream a lot when you're like, some of you might be introverts, and so when you're in a social gathering, you might become silent sometimes, and you might just daydream, and like some people might have noticed that you sometimes seem to be like in your own world, like as if you're not really a part of your immediate world. That I think many of you have a really interesting inner world. I think because you are so good at like imagining things and good at like fantasizing, and like because you have such a good imagination, I think you have like created this very interesting world inside your brain, and sometimes it might not sometimes the world around you might not compete with the world that you have inside your brain. So sometimes you might choose to be in your own mind rather than investing in what's going on around you, because that might not be as interesting as what's going on in your brain. And yeah, I think some of you might be really into history as well, or like you might be into the history of art, but also just history in general. I think you might be quite fascinated by like the 17th century or 18th century or 19th century. Like, I think some of you might feel like you were born in the wrong time era, or some of you might just like imagine how it was to live in the 18th century. And so I think many of you really enjoy reading books from like the 18th century, and you might just and I think you daydream a lot about how it would have been to actually have lived in that era. Some of you might also wear clothes that look more like it's from the 18th century. So some of you might wear corsets, or like shirts that are like puffy, or just like dresses or long skirts, or just clothes that have a lot of details, like a lot of beautiful details. I think you are very detail oriented, like in general. I think you pay attention to the small details. But also, I think some of you might have like a clothing style that might be inspired by the Victorian era, or Gothic era, or Renaissance. Like, you know, I think some of you might also be quite into the TV show Outlander, and like the whole idea of being able to go back in time. I think that is something that fascinates you a lot. Some of you might also be really good writers, and I think you are really good at writing because you're so good at you have such a good imagination. Like, if some of you have been thinking about writing, and you have, like, maybe some of you have thought about writing from a very early age, like maybe you were told when you were a child that you should become a writer or something, because maybe you loved to read a lot when you were a child, and I think some of you might have had a bit of like a conflict within yourself, because on the one hand, I think you want to write something that's more like social realism or autobiography, but on the other hand, I think you also have like thought about going into the fantasy genre and write fantasy books, and I think you should do that. Maybe because I think you are better at fantasy, at the fantasy genre, you're so good at imagining things, and you're so good at like fantasizing, and like you could very well like write a really good fantasy book or children's book, like Harry Potter or something like that, or Lord of the Rings, or you could also go into the sci-fi genre if you wanted to, because I think it would be very easy for you to create a universe, because you've already created a universe inside your brain, and so you just have to do that again on paper, and I think you would, I think it would come very easy to you, so I think you should do that. And I think that is something that makes you unique. It's one of your great talents. So let's see what the cards have to say. What makes group number 1 unique? Group number 1. What makes group number 1 unique? So the King of Pentacles, the 9 of Swords, and the 9 of Cups. So with the King of Pentacles, this kind of makes sense, because if you look at this picture here, you can see how this person is sitting in his chair, and he's daydreaming about, like, you can see how he's sleeping, and then there's this thought bubble, and in the thought bubble there's like this cattle or like cow or something, and I think you have like a really great ability to visualize, as I said before, and daydream. Some of you might also get messages in your dreams, because also with the 9 of Swords here, this person here is sleeping, and there's an angel, and so some of you might get messages through your dreams. So that's maybe something that makes you unique. I think some of you might also have like prophetic dreams, like prophecies. Some of you might dream something, and then it ends up coming true, and that might have happened a few times, where you dreamt something and then it came true. But also I think you receive some messages from angels through your dreams. Also, some of you might be really good at reading synchronicities and signs from angels, angel numbers also. But I also think some of you might just know sometimes, like some of you might know if something bad is going to happen. Like some of you might get like this hunch, this feeling right before something bad happens that something bad is going to happen. So it might not only be in your dreams that this happens, but it could also just be in your waking life, that like you might have had some experiences where you were going on a bus, but then suddenly you realized that you were not supposed to be on that bus, and so you went off the bus or didn't go on the bus, and then you heard later that that bus had actually been in an accident or something, and so you might have had some freaky experiences where you felt like you already knew what was going to happen next. And I think some of you might be claircognizant, and so you might just know things before they happen, and that's certainly something that makes you unique. But I also think like some of you might be so good at visualizing the future, for example, like if you are good at visualizing the future, but I think you are, because I did get this feeling that you are good at manifesting things, and like you might have these like create these dreams and then they come true. But I think for some of you, you might not be actually manifesting things into reality. You're probably just really good at telling the future. So if you can imagine like, oh, I want this to happen, and then you can like picture it in your mind that you want this to happen, and then you feel like you're manifesting it into reality, but really you are just seeing the future. You're actually able to see what the future brings. And so I think many of you are really good at fortune telling. So yeah, I also think many of you are really good at following your intuition. I think some of you might also be really good at multiple choice tests, because I think you just know the answers, even though you might not even have like read about it beforehand. Like you might just know what the answers are because you use your intuition. So yeah, with the 9 of Cups here, I think some of you also have like been very lucky in your life. I think some of you might have won a lot of things in your life. You might have luck on your side, and so some of you, maybe you should like buy a lottery ticket or something, because you might have some you might be very lucky people. But I also think there's something here about how some of you might have like a tendency to go into hermit mode sometimes. Like you need solitude in order to get your head space cleared, and like I think you are just very introverted, some of you, even though I think some of you might be a mix of like extrovert and introvert. Like some of you might have some periods where you love to be around other people and love to go and do social stuff, but I think you also need to retrieve and like be just yourself for a while. I also think some of you might have some I think you have a very close connection to your angels or to your God or whatever, and I think you, when you are alone, I think you can really just connect very well with the spiritual world. And yeah, but I also think just with this picture here, I think many of you, I think you might wear like clothes that look a bit like this. So like you might wear long dresses. Sometimes you might like to wear layers, even though you probably don't like to do that now when it's summer. But yeah. But there's something also with the tuxedo here. Like I think you are formal dressers. I think you like to be overdressed. Yeah. I also think there's something here about because of the golden cow that makes me think of Moses and his followers who started worshipping a golden cow while Moses was up on the mountain talking to God. And some of you might this could be how some people see you, that you worship a golden cow in a way. So some of you might have some beliefs that some people might not understand. So you might, well, maybe it's just like spirituality in general, like tarot and stuff like that, and that might be something that people see as unique because they might not have met a lot of people who believed in tarot and stuff like that. And some of you might also be really into some like conspiracy theories, but not necessarily the serious ones. I think you might be more into those fun conspiracy theories, like alien theories. Like some of you might love to like see shows about how aliens might have visited Earth in like ancient time. In like you might be really interested in like all those theories about aliens and the pyramids and aliens and those sites that are all around the world. Like, or some of you might also be really into archaeology, and and possibly also the like mysteries revolving like archaeology. Like some of you might be really into like solving some mysteries. That's also something I saw in this card here because of the fingerprints. There's like fingerprints here, and so some of you might be really into solving mysteries and like getting evidence and like finding evidence about like that, like you might be really into like creating your own theories about stuff and then trying to find evidence for your theory or something. And some of you might also be really into true crime shows, and I think you're really good at solving mysteries also. Like when you watch true crime shows, you might always know who the killer is. Like you might even know within the first 5 minutes of the show. Like you can always tell, and I think it's because you're really intuitive and probably claircognizant as well, and so you already know the answer, and so I think you'd like to watch those shows to just see if you're right about your well, if you're right, just yeah. So I also think with the animal here, I also think some of you might have a special connection with animals as well. Like you might have noticed that animals tend to seek towards you, or you might get messages through animals or something like that. But yeah, I think that's all I have for you. Group number 1. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and if you did, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Bye. Hello, group number 2. You chose this hematite heart-shaped stone, and you chose this Tarot del Fuego tarot deck, and this already tells me that, like, because of there's like a heart here and also a heart here, I think some of you might be sensitive or like hypersensitive, and some of you might have been hypersensitive since you were a child. You might always have been very sensitive to noises, in particular. Some of you might also have suffered from migraines, and so you might also have had some light sensitivity as well. But I think why this makes you so unique is that I think you are possibly empaths. I think you could be clairsentient, but mostly empaths. I think you are. I think you're very sensitive to your, but you're also very sensitive to energy, and other people's energy, and you get very easily affected by other people's energies, and so some of you might be like energy healers and energy readers. You can read people's energies, and like you can tell if people are feeling sad or if they are feeling like you can always tell how people are feeling on the inside. And I also just get this feeling that you're really good at reading the room. You're really good at like telling if there's tension in a room. You can always tell if if there's tension between two people, even though other people might not notice this tension. Like you can always tell if some people are having a conflict, or if some people are in love with each other, or like you can always read between the lines. You can, like, when people talk, you can sort of you can read between the lines. You can read what they are not saying, what things they are keeping to themselves, what things are hidden, and so I think you are really good at reading people. You're good at reading people's feelings, and I think that's something that makes you really unique. It's a unique skill that you have, and of course I think you might sometimes it might be a blessing and a curse for you, because I think sometimes you might feel like you can't really tell what's your energy and what's other people's energies. Like you might get your energy mixed up with other people's energies, and then you might get confused. Like you might feel depressed in a group of people, and or anxious or something, and you don't know if it's your anxiety or if it's some other person's anxiety that you are picking up on. Like, so sometimes you might have a hard time telling your energies apart from your energy apart from other people's energies. And so I think I'm getting a feeling that some of you might have had parents who thought a lot in your childhood, or maybe your parents got divorced in your childhood, and so you might be very used to reading your parents and reading if your parents were fighting, or if your parents were like you might have been very good at reading your parents and seeing if you could tell if your parents were going to fight. So yeah, but I'll just see what the tarot has to say. The Hanged Man, reversed. Temperance, upright. And the Chariot, upright. So with the Hanged Man reversed, I think this is telling me that what's unique about you is that even though I think you are like hypersensitive, I think you are I don't think you let your hypersensitivity get in the way of what you want. Like if you want to do something, you don't throw in the towel because you like I think you have a strength in you that makes you overcome any hardship that you are faced with. But I'm also like looking at this this face here, and the face is actually in the chest, and the chest is where the heart is. And I was talking about heart before, and so for some of you, your sensitivity or this, some of you might be very protective of your heart. So like, even though I've said that you're very sensitive, but I don't think you show your sensitivity to anyone. I think you are very protective of your heart, actually, and I think you don't let people get close to you very easily, and I think it might be because of of a male figure in your life, possibly your father. And so I feel like some of you might have been very close to your father in your early childhood, but then suddenly it changed, either because your father maybe passed away or moved away from you, or neglected you in some way, or disappointed you in some way, which made you rely more on your mother instead of your father. But I think this disappointment that you felt when your father abandoned you or whatever, I think that might be why you are protective of your heart, why you don't want to open up to people, because you opened up so much to your dad, or you were so close to your dad, and then suddenly he disappeared from your life. And I think also because there's like this bag on this person's head, and on this card, this temperance card here, there's the face is also well, not like, you can't see the face, and so that makes me think of some sort of lost identity. And I think some of you might have lost a bit of your identity or a part of yourself when your father abandoned you or neglected you or disappointed you in some way in your childhood, because your father might have been a big part of your identity, and your father might have known things about you that you don't even remember now, but you feel like it's lost because you can't really talk to your father about it now. But I also think like one of the things that's unique about you is also in the card here, that like when this hanged man is reversed, he looks a bit like a ballerina or line dance, someone who walks on a line, you know, not a line dancer, but like a line, I don't know. But so some of you might, one of the things that might make you really unique is possibly that you are really good at dancing, or maybe you have a really good balance, also with the temperance here. So maybe it is, maybe you have a really good balance. some of you might be really good at horse riding, sorry. But also writing, maybe some of you should be writers, like write books. Maybe some of you have a really interesting story to tell, and so maybe you should write about it in like an autobiography, because I think some of you might have had a lot of crazy experiences, probably in your childhood, but possibly also in your adult life, that would be very interesting to read about for other people, because you might have experienced some things that people might not even believe, because you might have some like extremely crazy stories that like only you have, like because like they are unique to you, because you might have been like the only one who experienced exactly the things that you've experienced. So I think some of you might have, one of the things that makes you so unique is your story. And so like, of course, I started out talking about some kind of sad things, like your childhood and your father and stuff like that. And this is, of course, this was supposed to be a more positive reading, because of like what makes you unique and special. But it is probably because your story is what makes you special. Your story is unique to you. No one else has had the experiences that you've had, and so that is something I think you should cherish, that you have those stories, and that you can possibly monetize those stories by writing a book about them, or a blog about them, or maybe even a podcast or something where you share your experiences. Some of you might also have some experiences with like some of you might also have like fun experiences, like I think some of you might have like, well, sad experiences that sort of are tragicomical in a way, like they are sad but they're also kind of funny in some ways. Like you might also have like some drinking stories, or like I think you could make like you could write a really great autobiography where you mix the sad with the funny, and like I think you could give like, you could contribute with a very comical way of looking at the hardships in your life. And like, for instance, the book Digging Up Mother, I think that's what it's called, Digging Up Mother, and that's an autobiography that's hilarious, but it's also really sad. And so I think you could make that mix of sadness where you write about the sad things that has happened in your life, but write it in a funny way, or something like a tragicomical way. I think many of you are really funny. Like, I think you have like that humor that's where you can just say like you can see the funny in things that like like even the saddest things, like, and I think you might also have like I think you have kind of like a dark humor that's really funny, and I think you deliver your jokes in a really funny way. Like I think some of you might be able to like deliver jokes where people don't even notice that you are making a joke, like, and then they realize it afterwards that you made a joke, and like then they laugh like afterwards, but like in the moment they can't really tell if you're serious or not. Like, I think you are good at like delivering jokes in a very like dry way, like you deliver them like dry, and I think you're really funny, like, but I'm also getting something here about how with the temperance here, there's like this makes me think of energy healing, because I read somewhere like an article written by an energy healer who specialized in healing ADHD children, and one of the methods she used when she did her energy healing on these ADHD children was she imagined that she imagined that the ADHD children had like a fire inside them, like a big fire that she had to put out, and so she imagined like pouring water on the fire inside them while she was doing the energy healing, and that worked really well. So some of you might actually have like that same gift of like you're able to heal people's energies, and probably ADHD children, like you could probably specialize in ADHD children if like, I think you're also just really good with children, but I also think some of you might have like ADHD yourself, so you might also connect really well with ADHD children because you know what they are going through. So I also think some of you might you might have a connection to water, the water element also. Like some of you might have always felt a strong connection to water and the ocean. And so some of you might actually be from like you might have some, I don't know if you believe in stuff like that, but like some of you might maybe have ancestors who were a part of the Lemurian people. I think that's what it's called. I'm not completely sure. Like Atlantis, the people from Atlantis, yeah. And but I think you just have like a really strong connection to water. Some of you might also get messages through water, or you might be able to use water as a divination. You might be able to read water. You can Google it if you don't know what. I'm not no expert on water divination, but I think it's a thing though. You might also get messages like when you're in the shower. You might also have like shower thoughts where you like just when you're in the shower you might think of some random things, and sometimes your thoughts might not be random, like completely random. So sometimes you might get actual messages when you're in the shower, and I think some of you with the Chariot and also these cards here with the face not showing. Okay, this is. Okay, I get it now. I think some of you might be might have grown up with cyberspace, like, or with the internet. Like you might be of a younger generation, and so you might have your childhood, like the internet might have been a big part of your childhood, and some of you might have actually developed your identity on the internet, by like some of you might have, like in your childhood you might have felt like the children around you didn't really understand you, and so you felt like probably felt a bit misunderstood by the people who were around you in school and stuff like that, and so you might have found your people online, on the internet. You might have found a group of people there, like you might have found most of your friends on the internet, and so you might have been on forums and like websites where you could write with a lot of people, like Go Supermodel or something like that. Maybe also like forums for different fandoms, or like Harry Potter forums, or forums for whatever. Like, and you might have felt like you belonged there, like you belonged with these people, and these people understood you, and they had the same interests as you, and I think at some point, I think because like you, when we write with people on the internet, like you probably wrote with people where you didn't see their face and they didn't see your face, and that's why the face is blurred here, both in both cards. I think you grew up faceless in a way, like because you were so much on the internet, and you wrote with most of your friends on the internet, and most of your friends didn't have a face, like you didn't know how they looked in real life. You could only see their soul or mind or whatever they portrayed in their written text, like, and I think and they couldn't see your face either, and so I think you might have I think this makes you unique in that way, that I think you are very focused on the mind and the soul, and you don't care that much about the physical. You don't care how people, like you're very tolerant. You don't judge people like you don't judge a book by its cover, like you don't judge people because they look a certain way, like you give people like, and I also think this is like a part of your like your dating game as well. Like if you date people, like you date people who look very different from each other. Like the people you date, you can date people who are maybe on the ugly side, and you can also date people who are pretty, but it doesn't really matter to you because you're only attracted to their personality, and you're only interested in that part because to you the body and the physical is not really that important. It's not something you see as like an important thing, and you also know that like the physical is something that comes and goes, like and so I think this makes you really really tolerant people, but also very curious people. Like you are always very curious to know what's inside people, what people's thoughts are like. So yeah, and I think, well, there's also like, it's also a blessing and a curse, because even though like on paper it's a really good thing to be so to not care about the physical at all, it's a very good thing. But the problem with that is that you might have become, or might be now, but probably more in the past, that you might have detached a bit from your body, and some of you might also have like suffered from body dysmorphia, because that's something I have this theory that it's something that happens when we create our identity so much in the mind and the soul, and develop it so much like around the mind and the soul, and then like the body sort of gets like detached from us, because we don't see it as we don't really see it as ourselves. Like because like I grew up, maybe I'm a bit biased, but like I grew up with the internet. I did this too. I also found a lot of friends online who I don't know to this day how I don't know how they looked, and they didn't know how I looked, but we connected on a soul level, and like our minds connected. And I think this also made me think like I think that's also the reason why I don't see like the body as like I don't really think of it as like a part of myself, and that's also why like I have a really hard time like doing these videos with my face, because it's hard for me to, well, it's hard for me to be on camera with my face, because I'm not really used to thinking of myself with a face. And maybe it's me who's like just weird, but you might have like some of that element too, where you don't really see yourself as like your physical being, that you mostly see yourself as your mind and your soul, and so you might have might just not really, and that might make it hard for you to picture how other people see you and stuff like that, because you don't really see yourself. You don't see yourself as like a harmonized body, mind, and soul. You see yourself as only your mind and your soul, and not the body. And so there's like a puzzle piece that's missing. And so maybe that's why you watch these videos, because like you miss that piece where you want to know what other people, how other people perceive you, maybe physically. Actually, maybe that's really something that interests you, because you don't know how people see you physically, because you don't even know how you see yourself physically. Like I don't know if I'm getting like if that's like a sidetrack, I don't know, but I'm also just getting this feeling that some of you might like when I think of the chariot, I always think of like Jews and gypsies and people who travel, like, and don't sit still in one place for too long, and so some of you might have that feeling that you need to travel and you need to travel around, like maybe not like you need to travel the world, but like I think some of you might feel like you have to move every few years, because you might feel like the city that you live in, at some point it gets too small for you, like, and then you need to get to another city. Like whenever you start to like know too many people in a city, you feel like it gets too familiar, or too, like, some of you might have like that anxiety that like, oh, you don't want to go into a store because what if you meet this and this person, and so then the city may get a bit too small for you, and then you feel like, oh, it would just be so much easier if you just move to another city where nobody knows you, and then you can like start over, and like you don't have all those ghosts from the past haunting you, and like, I don't know. Some of you might also just have ancestors who were Jews or gypsies, and they might have moved around a lot, like your ancestors might have moved around a lot, and so maybe you maybe that's like family karma for you, that like you need, or not family karma, but like something that's that keeps repeating itself, like a cycle that keeps repeating itself in your bloodline, and maybe you need to like break that cycle and actually settle down and do what your ancestors couldn't do, and actually find a place that you like and settle down there. But I think this also, like, it makes you unique in the way that you don't, many people need physical things and material things in order to know who they are. Like they need to like identify themselves in their environment. Like some people feel like they have to live the same place their whole life, because that place at some point it's a part of their identity. Like they identify with the place that they live in. But I think your identity is so much in the air, like in the spiritual, but also like in the cyberspace, like it's, and like not just cyberspace, but like also just in the spiritual, in the air, like in your head. Like you can live wherever you want. You don't have to live one place to feel like you feel at home. Like you can feel at home anywhere in the world, because you have your home is you. Like so like this person is carrying his house around with him everywhere he goes, and the fun thing about this particular card is that that this person has actually decorated this wagon, this house on wheels, and made it into like a very nice place with a lot of paint and a lot of decorative stuff, and like I think you have like you have made yourself your home by like, and you've made your mind your home. You have decorated your mind so that it's a really nice place to be, and so you don't have to put it in the physical. You don't have to get material things to decorate the environment around you, because you've decorated inside your brain or inside your mind. And I think that makes you very good at adapting to your environment, and yeah, I think you're someone who could live anywhere, and that creates a lot of possibilities. But it also tells me that you can create stuff in the air, and like that's the Jew the Jew thing, or I don't. But it's that mentality that if you don't own land, then you can create something in the air, like for instance by writing. Then you can create well, I can't really but creating something out of nothing, if that makes sense. Like for instance, writing a book is creating something out of nothing. It's taking nothing and building something out of it, and also creating like images in people's heads that doesn't exist like prior to but also you could be good at like I think you're just good at everything that's not material, like science, like contributing to science, and also through literary works, and through everything that like builds out, like that develops the mind. I think that is like building blocks. It's like you can provide building blocks to people where they can build their mind up. Like you don't need physical building blocks. Like I don't know, but that is all I have for you. I think group number 2. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and if you did, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Bye. Hello, group number 3, you chose this Labradorite, but also this tarot of the Moon Garden tarot deck. And what that tells me already is I think some of you might be quite dynamic people. You might be a bit some of you might have a hard time reading you, and I think some of you might have something about you that some people might consider a bit intense. You might have intense eyes, maybe staring eyes, like you might stare a bit when you talk to people, and not in a bad way, but also some of you might have very light blue eyes, and so that might be what people assume, like what people see as a bit intense. It might just be the color of your eyes, and maybe also some of you might have very big eyes, and so that might be a thing. I think you have also just like a bit of an intense glance, but I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. But I think you draw attention to yourself. Like when you talk to people, I think your eyes demand attention. Like when you might have a way of spell binding people when you talk to them. Like it's like people can't look away. Like they need to have eye contact with you when they talk to you, because they feel like they can't really look away, because they feel like they have to, like, because you have like this demanding glance that just makes people feel like they have to listen, like they have to be invested in this in the conversation with you, because you demand attention, or not attention, but you demand people's devotion to the conversation, if that makes sense. And some, like I said, spellbound, like spellbinding, and so some of you might also be into magic, and so you might actually put spells on people, and that's something that might make you unique. But I'm also getting with the Labradorite, it's a very like extraterrestrial, but also like not really though, but like I'm getting like this feeling of something that's a bit not from this earth. So some of you might be Aquarius, in sun, moon, or rising. Could also be Aquarius in Mercury. But also there's something interesting about this stone here, because like it has like a blank side and a rough side. So I think some of you might have like a very polished side of you, and then you have like this raw side of you, and like I think it depends on who you talk to. Like I don't think you show the raw side to just anyone. I think you might show the polished side more to people. So there might be some of you could also be perceived as a bit mysterious. Some of you might be Geminis also in sun, moon, or rising. But some people might feel like they don't really know you, because you show these two sides and they don't really know which one is the right side, like which one is you. And I think what people don't know is that like both these sides are equally you. You just have two sides to your personality. Not that you have multiple personalities, like, but you have, I think you have like a side where you are, some of you might be like a mix of extrovert and introvert, and so some of you might be both, and like you might have like periods where you are really social, and then you have periods where you withdraw from socializing, and you might have like you might be the type who loves to talk to people and like seems really like outgoing, and then you can also be that silent type who just sits and says nothing, and I think you have just two sides to you. So yeah, but let's see what the cards have to say. What makes group number 3 so unique? What is unique about group number 3? Group number 3. What is unique about group number 3? Okay, so with the 5 of Swords, I think some of you might have had some experiences with people who disappointed you. I think some of you might have you might have had some friends or boyfriends or girlfriends or just people in your life who were a bit narcissistic, or maybe they had borderline personality disorder, or were just very kind of like manipulative towards you. And I think you've been like hurt quite a few times by people who had like some mental disorders that made them act really manipulative, and may even have taken advantage of you. I'm also like getting this that like some of you might have had, like some of you might have a car, and you might have felt like in the past, or maybe you feel like this now, that some people only wants to be your friend because you have a car, or because they can get something out of the relationship. And so you might feel like no one is actually just being friends with you just because they want to be friends with you. Like, and I think the thing is, like, this is of course about what makes you unique, and it's the thing that makes you unique is not that you have been the target for a lot of narcissists in your life, even though that might be your story, and your story might be unique, and that might be something that's unique about you, that somehow you have like attracted a lot of narcissistic people, or borderline people, even like maybe psychopaths, like into your life. And you might have thought, like, why am I like this magnet? Why do I attract these people to me? Like, is there something about me that makes me a target to these people? Why do they choose me? And I think that's a very natural thought to have, like, think what is it about me that makes people want to be nasty towards me? But that is like, it has nothing to do with you, or it does have something to do with you, but it's positive. It's not negative. It is likely because you seem like a nice person, and toxic people will always take advantage of people who seem nice and who seem to be very helpful, and who seem to like, if you've given off this vibe that you are a self-sacrificing person who wants to be very helpful to all the people around you, and who is always thinking about others, and then people who are narcissistic will of course see you as like an opportunity to like get what they want. Like, if they want something that you have, and they see that, okay, this person is kind of a pushover, and so it's easy to get this person to do whatever I want them to do. Well, but I don't want this reading to be like about what's negative about you that makes you unique, but and it's not. It's a positive thing. It's nice to be a nice person. It's good to give off that vibe that you're nice, but I think also one of the things that makes you unique is that I think whenever like, even though you have experienced some manipulation in your life, and people have been gaslighting you, and people have like mistreated you in some way, I think you are good at seeing that as, I think some of you might have had like some sort of maybe you've been through your dark night of the soul recently, where you have like realized a lot of things about yourself, and realized maybe why you attract these people into your life, and why you keep becoming a victim to these kinds of people, and maybe you realized that it's because you don't set boundaries, and or that you give people too many second chances, and I think these realizations that you've had about yourself, and like I think these realizations are what like have developed you a lot as a person. I think you realized a lot of things about yourself, and you have become a really strong person who is really good. I think you've become good at setting boundaries for yourself, because you have like many times been a victim to these people who have hurt you. And I think some of you might actually be able to help others because you have had, like, some of you might have had these experiences because you were meant to help other people, and so maybe you have like ended up in the claws of these people because you were supposed to learn a lot of things about, like, learn a lot about like narcissists and psychopaths and people with borderline personality disorder, and like and how to not get manipulated by them. And maybe you could share your like, maybe that's like a unique, maybe you have some unique knowledge because you've experienced it so many times, and so maybe you can use this unique knowledge to help others who are struggling with these types of people too. And so like maybe make some videos on YouTube about how to deal with certain types of people, or maybe make a podcast about it, or maybe study psychology, or become like, maybe some of you would be really good at like at being therapists. And so yeah, but I also think that's maybe the thing about the polished side and the rough side here. It might not be that you have two like personalities or two sides to your personality. It might more be that you protect yourself by showing people this polished version of yourself, because if you, like, I think some of you might be afraid of opening up to people because you're afraid that people will take advantage of you, and so you might or you're afraid that people will judge you unfairly, and so you I think you keep your raw version of yourself a lot to yourself, and then you show this polished version because you want to like protect your heart. I think some of you might also be water signs, but with the 10 of Pentacles here, I think what's unique about you is also that I think you are very romantic people. I think you want I think you're also very like emotional people, but I think you like your love language in a relationship is probably more like material or physical. Like you can, I think you like to, and that's probably also what people may take advantage of sometimes, is that I think you are a very giving person. I think you love to help people and give people gifts, and you just like to do things for people that people don't ask you, don't even ask you for, like you. And so I think you are like a bit like the romantic type who does like grand gestures to show your love to people, but you also, some people might misinterpret that as you trying to buy friends, or but I hate to say that because that doesn't sound very nice, but that's probably some of the toxic people who's because I just think you are very generous. Like I think you are actually the type who feels like what's yours is like what's mine is yours. Like you want to share your things with people. You don't see it as a problem to for instance, if you talk to someone and they are like, and you're talking about some book, and the person says, I really want to read that book, then you offer to borrow, to lend the book to that person, and you do it because why shouldn't you? Like you don't have that thing that some people have, like where they don't want to borrow people their books because they are sure that they will like ruin them, or like do something to them, like their books, that or lose their books or something, like or that they will never see that book again if they borrow the book to someone else. But I don't think you even care if you don't get it back, like because you want people, I think you generally want people to like if you've read a book one time, you wouldn't mind if someone borrows it and never gives it back, because then the book has gotten a new owner, and so you don't care what happens to it, like or it's not really that, because I think you like your stuff, like I think you, because of the 10 of Pentacles, I think you have an attachment to things. I think you cherish your things. Some of you might actually have like that thing where you might have like a hoarding gene, where you like to collect stuff or hoard stuff, and you might have a hard time getting rid of stuff, because you might feel like some of you might feel like all material things have like a personality or a soul or something like that, and so you might have a hard time throwing something away, because you might have like this feeling that you're hurting their feelings, like if you throw something away, that like, and you might give physical things, like material things, feelings, like, and so I think you have an attachment to your stuff. But I think if you borrow your stuff to someone else and they never give it to you back, like I don't think that's like I don't think you would have an attachment issue with that, because then you know that the thing that has just gotten a new home, or like or I don't know, but but I think like another thing that makes you really unique is that I think you're very monogamous, like you believe in love. I think you are romantics. You believe in love. You believe in the love story. You believe in soulmates. You believe that there's one person out there for you that you are meant to be with, and like you believe in that love relationship where you find one person and you're with that one person the rest of your life. And like I think you are also very committed to people. You don't have a problem, like you don't have any commitment issues. Like if you're with a person romantically, you are very invested in the relationship. Like you don't like get unsure about it, or like you get completely invested. And that's like, maybe you have had some toxic relationships in the past, but I don't think it was toxic on your part. It was toxic on the other person's part, because you might have been very loyal and very committed and invested a lot of time and energy in the relationship. And I think on the other person in the relationship was not committed to you in the same way that you were committed to them. So I think you might have had some bad relationships because you love so intensely. When you are in a relationship, you are very you're very devoted to it. And I'm sure that you will find one day someone who has the same devotion that you have. And like, but this is like, and as soon, like when you or if you, maybe you've already found it, but like if you haven't found it yet, and then you will find it. And I think the person you will end up with will see it as a very unique and positive trait, that you are so loyal and committed and engaged, and you're not afraid of committing to people. And with the 8 of staffs reversed, I think one of the things that's also unique about you is that I think you're not the spontaneous type. You're not impulsive. I think you are very. Some of you could also be earth signs, because like I'm getting this feeling that some of you might be you might like to plan ahead, and you might have a, like, you don't do like spontaneous stuff. Like you like to even though like I think you're in a relationship, I think you like to make grand gestures, and they are probably spontaneous. Like no, they are not. I think you like to plan your grand gestures, in like if you want to surprise the person you're in a relationship with, then you like to plan it and surprise your significant other with like something that you've planned for a while, and then surprise them. But I don't think you like to be surprised yourself. Like I don't think you enjoy getting grand gestures yourself, because I think you like to know what's going to happen next. You like to be prepared for the things that are to come. Like I think you like to have things planned out, and you like when everything is in a schedule in a way, or like some of you might also like to make lists where you can like I don't know, I think but I also think one of the things that's unique about you is that you really think about what you say to people. Like you might be a bit of an like you overthink things, but you also just like you are cautious. Like I think it's because you don't want to you don't want to disrespect anyone, and you don't want to say things that can be perceived as like discriminating, or like, so I think you think about your words, like you think out your words before you say them, and I think you really think about how your words affect people. Like you make sure that you don't say things that can be perceived as hurtful. And I think that's maybe why you get so hurt when people don't think about what they say to you, like because you give it so much thought. Like you think about what you say to people, but people just say whatever they want to you, and they don't have your, like, you think about other people's feelings. You don't want to hurt people's feelings, and you just wish that other people would think about not hurting your feelings as well. But I think like you are very caring people, and thoughtful. I'm sure like you, when you text people, or when you write like a letter or an email, like you think about every single word that you write down, and like how that could be misinterpreted, or what if they see this out of this, or what if they read this out of this, and like what, like you really think things through. I get I think you're quite analytical. With the Lovers here, and this is very much what I was talking about before. I think many of you are just like, the unique thing about you is that you are very romantic and emotional, and some of you might also have like this flirty side. And like people might pick up on that. Like I think you are quite charismatic as well. Like I think people are very drawn to you, but they also see, I think people, when they talk to you, they they feel like they are in a safe space with you. Like they feel like you are safe to, like they feel like they can open up to you very easily, because you have this loving energy and caring energy that makes people feel very comfortable around you, because they know that you don't want to hurt them. Like you don't want, like you're not a mean or evil person. People trust you very easily, and they also see, or they know that you are loyal. Like you don't go out and like share all the personal stuff that people say to you. Like you can keep a secret, I feel like, or people feel that you can keep a secret because they see you as this very good person who doesn't want to hurt anyone, who is very cautious and very caring and very thoughtful of people's emotions. And I think people can confide in you. They see you as this person that they can easily open up to and share their stories with, because you don't judge people either. You might also be sort of physical in your, like you might be really good at like without like I don't think you like you might have like this gift of being able to touch like people, like if you are trying to, like, if someone is crying and you're comforting them, you know how to like touch them without like being too much, but like showing them that you are there for them, but in a discreet way. But like I think you are good at like knowing when to like touch people, but also when to like when you are like overstepping some boundaries. Like you know that, if that makes sense. Like but I think you have some of you might have healing hands as well. Like some of you might be might have like you can use your hands to heal people. Some of you could be really good at massaging or physical therapy, or like I think there's just something about your physical touch, and I think you, with your physical touch, you can make people comfortable. So yeah, but that's all I have for you, group number 3. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and if you did, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Bye. Hello, group number 4. You chose this Kesera stone, and you chose this deck here. I don't know the name of the deck, but it's an Icelandic deck, and this stone here is also called a vulcanite, I think. And so already this tells me that, well, some of you might be from Iceland, but some of you might also be from somewhere that's a hotspot, like a volcanic hotspot. So Hawaii or some like hotspot, volcanic hotspot, and I'm also getting that some of you might just be something that makes you unique might also just be that you are a bit volcanic in a way that, like, you might show emotions very intensely when, like, you might have this thing where you are very silent, and you don't speak up for yourself, and you might be like a bit of a sort of like a peacemaker. You like to keep the peace. You like it when everyone is like happy, and you don't like conflict at all, and you like everything to just be like status quo. You like it when everyone just get along with each other, but like when enough is enough for you, like if you, like, some of you might be a bit of a pushover, and so when people have treated you unfairly for a long time, or has done something towards you that you didn't like over a period of time, then like at some point you just explode, like, and then like you like a volcano, like, so. And so, like, I think some people have like experienced that side of you, like, and so I think some of your closest friends, they know that, like, you're this really nice person, but they shouldn't piss you off, because if they piss you off, then hell will be loose, like, if you get what I mean. And so I think people know that, like, that you can explode, like, that you can actually react very strongly, like if something really pisses you off. But also, like, this Kesera stone, like, it's also about, like, whatever will be. And so I think some of you, one of the things that that's unique about you is that I think you have sort of I think you, like, in general, I think you have a positive and optimistic outlook on life, and I think you, like, if things go sideways for you, I don't think you take it too hard, like, you don't, or I think, like, it's not only that you're a pushover, like, I think that's just, like, I don't think that's it at all. I think in general, I think you have this mentality where if someone says something to you that that's maybe a bit hurtful, or something you don't like, you have, like, that voice in your head that says that tells you, like, but does it really matter that much? Like, I think you have, like, that part of you that just says, like, fuck it, like, and I think you just move on from, like, you don't want to invest so much time in, like, in people who say things like that. And so I also think it's just because you feel like it's a waste of your time to actually get into a conflict with someone who said something to you, because in a way you're just stretching the conflict out, and like it doesn't make it better or anything, and it just makes it worse. And so I think you know when to just let it go and move on and think whatever. It is what it is. Like, there's no reason to think more about it. Yeah. But let's see what the tarot has to say. It's like, this is also like an Icelandic deck, and so one of the things that could be unique about you could also be that you could be, some of you could be foreigners in the country that you live in now. So you might come from a different country. So I'm also getting something about your name. So some of you might have a very some of you might have a name that's very difficult to pronounce, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a foreign name, even though I think many of you might have a foreign name, a name that many people in your country can't pronounce. But it could also just be that your parents were hippies and gave you like a name that is very a name that's not very many people have in the country that you live in, or maybe like your name might be spelled in a strange way or something. Like, you might have a normal name, but it's spelled differently, and so I think some people might pronounce it wrong because they pronounce it as it's spelled, but it's supposed to be pronounced in another way or something like that. And so I think that's something that definitely makes you, like, it's a unique thing about you, that you have a name that is unique. Maybe not unique in your home country, but it's unique in the country that you live in now. But let's see what the tarot has to say. So what makes group number 4 so unique? Okay, so with the Justice card here, I think some of you might study law, or you might be into law, or you might be into ethics or morals, or like either it's like law, or like you might be very interested in law, or you might be interested in philosophy that's more about like philosophy, about ethics and morals. But I'm also just getting that that you are good. You're good diplomats. You're good mediators. I think you are good at keeping the peace. I said peacemaker before, and I think many of you are good at keeping the peace. You're good at, like, if your friends are fighting, you're good at trying to like find a solution and like find common grounds and make your friends stop fighting. And I think you have a very good moral compass as well. I think you're very, very good at picking up on injustice, or when something happens that like if something happens around you, you are not like, you're not afraid of interfering, even though some of you might be like afraid of conflict. But like, I think if you saw someone get bullied or something, you would step up and like speak up for the person who's getting bullied. I think you are the type who just like, you can't see, you can't just like look, you can't just look at or sit idly by while someone is getting bullied. Like, you have to interfere, and I think you have a very strong sense of justice. And but there's also something about a pyramid here in the background. There's a pyramid, and so some of you might also have an interest in ancient history, but also religion, or religious studies. I think some of you might really be interested in like reading ancient texts in order to solve some current issues in the world. Like, I think you are the type who likes to like see if you can find solutions to problems that we are facing right now in like the past or something like that. Also, like if you are into like philosophy, like ethics, then you might really like you might be interested in studying ancient texts to see like how ethics, like how people in ancient times looked at some like morals and ethics, and like how some people in ancient time, maybe also the justice system in like ancient time, like you might be interested in like Plato and like the start of the democracy and in Greece. And so I think you just like, I'm getting this feeling that you are like very smart, like you're very intelligent people. You are very analytical, and you like to overthink things, but like you like to think, like if something happens, you like to talk about it and like make sense of what happened, and I also seeing everything from different perspectives. I think you are very, very interested in seeing all the perspectives, like hearing the story from every aspect, like if someone comes up to you and says that someone did something to them, then you listen to them, but you also have that, you always have that in your mind, that you need to hear the other person out before you can actually agree with this person that something horrible had happened to them, like, and like you need to hear the other side of the story always, like because you don't want to jump to any conclusions without having the whole story in front of you, like yeah. With the Four of Pentacles here, I think some of you might have a like you might have a bit of a tendency to hold on to things for too long, even though, like, I know I said in the beginning that you don't hold on to things, but that you have that mentality where you have that que sera mentality, that whatever will be, that like, but I think maybe that's also just for the future, like but I think you do. I think you are good at like maybe you have a tendency to hold on to like relationships that you probably shouldn't. Like maybe you are a bit too loyal towards some people in your life, where you keep like you keep thinking that they will change, and like you're always optimistic and giving people second chances, and I think that's a unique thing about you, is that you don't let go of people, like you give people the benefit of the doubt, but you, like with the justice system, like you don't what's it called, you don't judge people before like it's proven otherwise, that like you everyone, like you believe that everyone is innocent until otherwise, like until something else is proven that they are not innocent, like, and so I think you believe everyone is innocent until you until it's proven otherwise, and I think that's kind of the thing where you like hold on to, like you give people the benefit of the doubt. You want to hear people out. You don't you don't just like close the door on someone because of something that happened. Like, you want to hear them out. You want them to like, if someone does something horrible to you, like, you want to hear their side of the story. You want to know why they did that, and like, so you want to listen. Like, if someone comes to you and says that they want to explain themselves, then you are open to hearing the explanation. You want to hear it, and you will take it to account. You don't just shut people out of your life forever because of something they did wrong. And so, yeah, I think the theme here is just that you have a moral compass. But with the 5 of wands here, I think, well, this is also like, it makes me think of someone who it's actually funny with this picture here, because usually the 5 of wands is pictured as a bunch of people fighting each other, but in this case it's actually just one person. And so what that may tell me this was kind of what I was talking about before. I think whenever you fight with people, I think you do use a lot. I think you overthink it a lot afterwards. I think you, like, every time you get in an argument with someone, I think you use a lot of time afterwards to like to think the whole argument through, and you probably also like think of all the great arguments that you could have come up with, and like all the good comebacks you could have come up with in the moment. Like, you might think of that afterwards. But I also just I think you are good at analyzing situations and seeing things from different perspectives, and like overthinking things, but also to the extent where you try to imagine what made that person do this to that person. Could it be that person had some feelings about that person which made them do what they did? And like, I think you and I think this analytical work that you do in your everyday life really benefits you if you are studying something, or if you are in like academia, or if you're in like a job where you need to analyze things. I think you have a lot of practice analyzing people and situations, and I think you are quite fascinated by how people react to each other. And yeah, but I'm also like I'm getting like this Jesus vibe from this person, because there's like this cross here, and it kind of looks like he's carrying this cross. And so some of you might have a connection to Christianity. So like, some of you might be Christians, and if you are a Christian, I think you might have always felt like a connection to Christianity, and some of you might have had some experiences as well with Christianity. Like, you might have had some experiences as a child. When you went to church as a child, you might have had like some experience where you got thrills through your body when you heard the organ playing, or just being in the church might have like made you feel a certain way, and I think you have like a connection to whatever religion you I think you could be really good religious leaders in whatever religion you are in, because I think you have a good connection to whatever religion you believe in. With the Six of Pentacles here, there is a cross here as well, but it also makes me think of like those houses, like when you see them from it actually kind of looks like a, because like churches are look a bit like a cross from when you look at them from the sky, and so I think some of you might have might get a strong connection when you are in church, or like it doesn't have to be the Christian church, but like in whatever church that your religion the churches that your religion have. So also with the flowers on top of it, I think it is the Protestant or Lutheran symbol with a cross and the flower or the rose usually. Some of you could be from a Lutheran somewhere where the religion is Lutheran, or I'm also getting something about Rosenkreutzer, Rosenkreutzer, I don't know. You know that that's like a religious movement that's also a bit like a brotherhood. That's also what I was getting about the Illuminati thing. So some of you might have some ancestors or family members who might be in like, might be Rosenkreuzers, or in sorry, in well, what kind, like a brotherhood that has something to do with like Illuminati. I don't know. You could also just like have some of you might be interested in some conspiracy theories, or some brotherhoods, like, or not just brotherhoods, but like those witchcraft groups, you know, that like Aleister Crowley was a part of, also Golden Dawn. Yeah, Golden Dawn. But it could also just be Masonry. Like Freemasons. Freemasonry. Or something, I don't know. But I think some of you could have, some of you could actually have like actual, because of the house here, and the pyramids also being a very two very difficult constructions. So some of you might actually have some talents with actual masonry or carpentry or engineering, or some of you might have like family members who were engineers or carpenters or mechanics or something like that, and so you might have like a talent for that, actually, for working with your hands and like building stuff. Some of you might have been really good at like building with Legos when you were a child or something. Like you might have like advanced into like those really complicated Lego sets. Like I think it's called like Technic or whatever. Like where, and so some of you could have some of you might be really good at building and but also it's a bit of like this inventive energy I'm getting too, that some of you might be inventors actually, or you could be architect, but also like in a very inventive way. Like some of you might be visionaries. You might be you might just be really good at inventing stuff, and so maybe you should should like look more into that. I don't know. So I think that's all I have for you, though. Group number 4. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and if you did, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Bye. Hello, group number 5. You chose this Tanzanite and also this Hermetic tarot deck, and the Tanzanite stone or gives me this feeling that some of you might be might have even quite a few things that make you unique. You don't have just one thing. You have like plenty of things. Like you might just be very unique in general. Like some of you might have felt like no one really understood you when you were younger, and like you might have always had like some interests that not a lot of people had around you. Like you might have felt like you couldn't really talk about like things with like maybe you've always had like some kind of odd hobbies. You might also have had like many hobbies growing up, and so you might have like jumped from one hobby to the other hobby and another hobby, and like maybe you changed your hobbies like once every month and got a new hobby once every month. And I think that's like, I think you are very curious people, and I think that's probably the reason why you've had so many different hobbies, is because you are generally curious about everything. You want to know about everything. I think you have a lot of interests. Like you are interested in a lot of things, a lot of different things. And I think some of you might have a bit of a hard time narrowing your interests down to one interest, which might have made it kind of hard for you to find your path in life, because you felt like you wanted to do everything. Like you might have like have started different educations because you felt like you might have felt like every education out there actually in a way made sense to you. Like everything seemed interesting to you, so you didn't really know what was what you were most interested in. Like, and so I think you are very curious people. You have a very natural curiosity also towards other people. I think you are very curious. Some of you might also be really. You could be really good journalists, I think, because I think you have this natural curiosity that makes you interested in every person you talk to. Like you can find something in, like you can, in every conversation you have with anyone, like you can always find something that you have as a common interest. And that's actually, I think, the reason why you've had all these different interests throughout your life is kind of because you are supposed to I think your path in life is probably to connect with people and to network with people. And I think when you've had all these interests and all these hobbies, you are very sure to like have something in common with just about anyone you meet, because it's very likely that the person you meet tomorrow, like when you are at some like social event, if you go to a social event tomorrow and meet someone, you will very likely find one topic that you have a common interest about, and then you can talk to that person. And so like I think it's like a really good thing that you have had all these different interests, even though many people around you might have felt that it was a bit weird that you changed hobbies, like other people change their underpants, and like you might have even like gotten that like some people might have thought you were a bit like that you had a bit like ADHD or something, that you were a bit unfocused and couldn't focus on like one thing, and like you might also have been frustrated about it yourself, like why you might have seen your friends become really good at like learning the cello or something like that, and you just like started learning to play the cello, and then 2 weeks later you stopped because it got uninteresting or a bit hard, or you didn't really care about it that much. And so like you might think like that it's a bit of a shame that you never really had a hobby for long enough to actually become good at it. But I think what you became good at was networking and finding like and like having so broad a spectrum that you can of topics that you can talk about with people. It is actually like a talent, and it's like you have like I think you have but let's see what the tarot has to say about what makes group number 5 so unique. Eight of Pentacles. So I think it says Lord of Prudence, and let me get back to that card. I'm not really sure what it's trying to say, but with the King of Swords reversed here and the King of Wands reversed, with the King of Swords reversed, the image is, when it's upright, the image is of a man riding like a wagon, and there's like all these angels helping him. And so when it's reversed, I think one of the things that might be unique about you is that you are very independent as a person. I think you are quite good at figuring things out for yourself. I don't think you are the type who needs a lot of help from others. I think you like to do things by yourself, or you like to be able to do things yourself. Like, you don't like to depend on other people for help. Like, you want to figure things out yourself, and I think you are really good at figuring things out for yourself as well. I think you are good at coming up with solutions. You're good at but you might also be a bit stubborn, and like, some of you might come across as a bit arrogant towards, like, other people might perceive you as a bit arrogant because you don't want help from others. You like, and so some people might consider that to be your way of saying that you don't want help from others because other people can't help you, because other people are beneath you in some way, like that you that everything turns out a lot better if you do things yourself. If you and the thing is, I think you are sort of right. I think you are quite good at, like, you're good at working alone. You're probably supposed to work alone. I think some of you might just not really work that well in teams. Like, you work better alone, and some of you are supposed to be self-employed, I think. But I'm also getting, because of the angels here, that some of you I don't think you take anything for granted, though. Like, some of you might be a bit arrogant, and you might be like a bit self-made, or like autodidact, or like you might have taught yourself all that you know, and I think, but I don't think you take it like you don't take it for granted. I think you're grateful for everything that you've accomplished, and I think some of you might also know that, like, sometimes you get some of the ideas that you get, they don't come from you, they come from somewhere else, like someone else, like maybe a guardian angel helping you or something. Maybe it's your grandfather. I don't know. With the King of Wands also reversed, yeah, I think now I'm getting it. Now I understand. With the 8 of Pentacles, it's of course about working really hard, and the King of Swords reversed about this wagon that's driven by these angels when it's upright, but when it's reversed, no one, like, it's not being driven by angels. It's like the person doesn't rely on anyone to drive the vehicle, and so I think there is a pattern here of you seeing it as quite I think you are unique because you are a hard worker. You want to do everything by yourself. You want to work hard and do things yourself. You don't want anyone's help. I think you are you want to be self-employed, and I think like you're the type who would work 24/7 just to be able to work alone. Like you I think you would sacrifice quite a lot just to be able to say, I did this myself without anyone's help. Just, this is all me. This is I only have myself to thank for this. But I also think like there's something about maybe you feeling like, I think you are quite good at sticking up to your ideas. You are good at like, and that's also why you want to work alone, because you want to be true to yourself. You want to be true to your ideas. You don't want to compromise. You want to do everything as you like. You want to do everything as you like. You have a vision in your head, of how you want things to end up, and you want to do that, and you don't want to compromise your vision. You want you're very true to your vision, and you're also very true to your intuition. Like you might get ideas that are divinely guided, and you don't want to work with others because you want to be true to the ideas that you have been granted by something bigger. Like deep down that some of your ideas you have been granted those ideas, so that you are supposed to do something about these ideas, and you have to be true to the vision that you were granted in a way. And I think that's also like a thing that makes you very unique, is that you're very true and very stubborn when it comes to your vision. You don't want anything to get in the way of your vision. And I think you also have like this dedication. You have a drive. You are very dedicated, is especially if things are, if you're very dedicated towards your own ideas. You might not be that dedicated when it comes to other people's ideas. Like if you work in a team, you might not get that dedicated, you might not be that motivated to do a good job, because if you don't believe in something, you're not going to do a good job at it, because you can only do a good job when you are doing something that you believe in, and that is true to your integrity in a way. Like I think you have like some you have a lot of self-respect, and I think people also notice that about you, that you are very like you have this authority, respectful, honorable thing going on that people pick up on. They know that you have like this stoic way of, like, I think people admire that you are so uncompromising, like that you are so true to yourself, and that you are so stubborn when it comes to your ideas. Like you don't some of you might be Leos. I think you or a fire sign, or an air sign as well. But I'm getting that, like, you and people might perceive you as arrogant because you believe so strongly in your vision and your ideas, but I think you should keep believing in yourself, because there's nothing wrong with believing in yourself. So but yeah, I think that's all I have for you, group number 5. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and if you did, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Bye. Hello, group number 6. You chose this Moki marble and also this Cook's Tarot deck, and this tells me that's like some of you might one of the things that might be unique about you could be that you're good at cooking, because it's the Cook's Tarot. So some of you might be really good at cooking, but there's also something about like the color green. So some of you might be earth signs, or you could also have like green thumbs, like you might be, or green fingers, like you might be really good at keeping plants alive, or you might not be, but you might buy a lot of plants. I'm not sure if you're good at keeping them alive, but like you might have a flair for plants and like buying plants, and you, like, if you see a plant that you really like, you buy it, and like I think you have a connection to nature. Some of you might have Native American ancestors, or ancestors who were shamans, and so you might have like a connection to herbs and plants, and how plants can heal people, and like, so you might be really good at like natural medication and like natural ointments for what plants is good for like certain diseases and stuff like that. Some of you might be healers. Some of you might also just be really good at like medicine in general. Like, some of you could be studying medicine or studying to become a nurse, or something in that, or like a pharmacist, or some kind of study that has to do with healing people. So some of you might also have like had some kind of some tendencies towards hypochondry. Some of you might be hypochondriacs, or not really, but like some of you might have. You might just like to Google symptoms. It's not necessarily that you like believe that you have all diseases, but it might just be something you're interested in. Like you like to make research about certain diseases, and maybe you were always supposed to be like a bit of like a hypochondriac, because maybe that's like what you were divinely guided towards. Like maybe you have always been divinely guided towards researching different diseases, because you're supposed to diagnose diseases in other people, and to be able to do that, you have to get acquainted with those diseases and like know the diseases. And so maybe you have Googled all these diseases because you were supposed to know something about these diseases, so that you could see the signs in other people, or something. But let's draw some cards about what makes you unique. What makes group number 6 unique? What makes group number 6 unique? What makes group number 6 unique? Okay, with the 5 of Cups, I think some of you might have suffered from an eating disorder when you were younger, or some of you could have suffered from anxiety or depression, or something and I think that makes you unique, because I think you have been through something that, and I think many of you are on the other side of it now, like you are not battling this so much now, or maybe you are, but I think many of you I think it's unique about you because I think you can empathize with people very easily, because you know, especially people who have been through the same as you know what they've been through. You can relate to people in on a soul level because you have experienced some difficult things in your life. I think some of you might also have like a connection to animals, especially cats. Some of you might be cat people. Some of you might have a cat. I'm also getting something about some of you maybe being in the, like, being an activist of some kind. Maybe you are like an active member of like the LGBTQ community or some other community, and I think you are very dedicated to some kind of movement that you're in. It could also be like a different movement, like the Black Lives Matter movement, or Me Too, the Me Too movement, or some of you might have had like an experience where you can relate to many of the people in the Me Too movement. So, yeah. And so I'm just guessing like that some of you might have had some experiences in your life, and I think you could really help others by sharing your stories, because I think many people can relate to your stories, and many people have been through something similar. And I think if you went out and talked openly about your experiences, I think a lot of people would follow you, like and like listen to you. And so I think that's maybe something. I think your story is something unique about you, even though many people can relate to it. But I think the voice that you have to be able to talk about your stories might be unique. So you might have a gift of expressing yourself, and like and so I think you could. I think you could move a lot of people with your stories, because I think you have a gift of like of talking, like maybe even public speaking could be your thing, even though you might have, like, some of you might have social anxiety, and so maybe public speaking is really, really scary. But I think if you got past that barrier, I think you could be really good at it, actually. So with a 9 of Wands, well, there's cats on the picture as well, so I definitely think you might have a connection, have a unique connection to cats. You might understand cats on like a soul level. Might also have too many cats, some of you, but I think you might have a strong connection to animals in general. I think some of you might have like that feeling that like animals are like, maybe some of you joke around and say that you hate all people, but like, and that's why you stick to pets or animals, because people are shitty, and so you might have like a bit of like, I don't know if, I think it's just your humor. I think you have, some of you might have a bit of a dark humor, but I think you also just have like this humor where you just hate everything, or like everything seems lame, it's, I don't know if it's like a facade that you put on, like you don't want to, you want people to think that you don't care about anything, because that way people can't hurt you. Like if you say that you don't care about anything, then people can't get to you because you don't care. So you might have like a bit of like, I don't give a shit about anything attitude, which makes you unique. But then you could, like you might, but I think like now I'm talking really seriously about it, but I think you do have a humorous take on it. Like some of you might also like joke around and say that you are crazy cat ladies. I think many of you like to make jokes about yourself, and joke about yourself and say that you are a crazy cat lady, and you'll never find like a husband or a wife or whatever, because you'll just end up alone with all your cats, and you don't care about that because it doesn't matter, because cats are like better than people. Or I'm not really translating this well enough. Like it sounds funnier in my head, and sometimes that could also be something that you experience a lot, that you feel like when you think about what you're going to say, you feel like it's a lot funnier in your head than when it comes out. So that could be something you experience too. That so some of you might have social anxiety, where you get anxious whenever you have to say something, and like you feel like what you have in your, like the things you want to say, like they sound one way in your head, and then they come out like gibberish when you have to say it out loud. Like and so some of you might feel like you are funnier on paper, like there's paper here. That's just why I thought about it. But like some of you might feel like you're better at, so maybe public speaking is not for you, but maybe public speaking in the way of writing, like writing publicly, maybe you are good at, I think you are funnier in text than you are in person. I think you are better at expressing like your thoughts on paper than in person, and so maybe you should do some writing, so like writing a blog or something, or a book. With the Knight of Pentacles, there's a pizza delivery person on the picture. But the funny thing is, like, this person is delivering, and I don't know why, but like I'm feeling like the person is delivering before the car is coming home, and so there might be something about you being able to, I think you deliver, I think you have a very when you are like around people that you are comfortable with, like your close friends, I think you are actually really funny, and you can deliver a joke really, really fast. Even like I think you can deliver it like before anyone else can think of it, like, and like before like I think you are very quick, quick to think of jokes when you are comfortable around the people that you are around, like but some of you might also have like that problem where you think of where all the great jokes come like afterwards, when like maybe when you're like walking home from a party, then you might think of all the great jokes that you could have said at the party, like but I'm also getting that some of you might have like a bit of a dirty humor. Some of you might make some sex jokes and stuff like that. But because like, but I'm getting more of that feeling that maybe maybe you also deliver jokes a bit late, or not necessarily that you deliver jokes late, but like you might, or not necessarily jokes, but like if you are like in like at a dinner party and with some people and they are talking about something, then it might take you a while to think of something that you want to say, and like when you are when you're ready to say what you want to say, or when you feel like you've thought it through, then the other people might have like changed the subject to something completely different. Like, so you might be a bit late at coming up with like answers, and it might take you a while, but I think it's because you overthink things, probably. But I also think some of you might just be you might be late because you are analyzing your environment while you are like living, like you're analyzing your life while you are living your life. Like you're always in analyzing mode in your brain, and that might make you a bit slower to respond because you are always analyzing everything. And like I think it's like the so some of you might be academics, like you might always be thinking analytically about everything, and so that might slow you a bit down. But I think you make good use of your brain power by doing this, because even though you might be slower at responding, you are actually your brain is actually working quite effectively, because by analyzing everything while you are living it, you are actually sort of making, like, then you don't have to analyze it afterwards, but like you probably do that too, but like I think it's good that you are always that you're always analyzing things, because it might make you a really good student. For example, if you are in school, then it makes you good at everything where you have to analyze things. And with a Page of Pentacles, this person is baking, so or cooking. So again, some of you might be really good at cooking, but you might also be really good at like putting ingredients together in general, and like and like that could be like in whatever, like you might be like, this also makes me think of the magician, so you might be really good at using your talents, like all your talents, and like it's hard to understand, it's hard to describe, because it's like, for instance, if you made a website and you're really good at writing, you might also be really good at drawing, and so you can write something great on the website, but you can also draw your own animations and make the website really beautiful by using your drawing skills. And then you can also use your marketing skills and your maybe your math skills as well, and like and like all your skills, like you are good at using whatever you're good at as an advantage for you, if that makes sense. But I also think because of the pig here is also like a piggy bank, and there's money underneath, and so I think you are good at finding ways to make money out of things, like using your talents and monetizing your talents, and getting a profit out of using your talents. So I think you are also just really good at attracting money into your life. But I'm also just getting that you are good at finding creative ways to make money, and like thinking outside the box when it comes to like finding something that can make you money. Some of you might also just like I don't know. There's also a field here, and that like it also makes me think of like reaping what you sow. And so I think you are also very patient people. You are good at putting the work in and doing whatever you are supposed to do, but you are also good at taking a step back and look at what you've like done and like wait for it to grow, like, and like you are patient, like you know that one day like some of your like maybe you have like many projects going on at the same time, and but you are sure that at least one of them, one of these projects will turn out successful at some point. And so I think you're good at being patient and waiting for and like waiting for whatever you're doing to gain success. You don't get discouraged if things go really slowly, because I think you believe in whatever you're doing and that it will turn out great at some point. And that's also what I'm getting with the 10 of Pentacles. I think you are quite certain that I think you believe like there's also something about like the golden egg here, and so like you might have created or you might be able to create a hen that can like produce golden eggs, like or a chicken or whatever, like in that like I think this is like a symbol that you are able to create something that will continue to give you money in the future, that will continue to produce money without you having to do anything. And so some of you might have like $1 million idea, or maybe not that extreme, but like some of you might have an idea about something that will actually earn you a lot of money in the future, or earn you a stable income in the future. Like for instance, if you are thinking of making like a website, then maybe that website will go it will be very slow in the beginning, but maybe at some point it will actually earn you some money in the future, like because people will visit that website, and I don't know, and like maybe if you create a website, like for instance about tarot card descriptions, or crystal meanings, like meanings of the different crystals, or stones, or the meaning of certain angel numbers, or the meaning of like some then you might just have to write it one time, and then in the future it will earn you money because more and more people will visit the site, but you will only have to do the work once, like, and then it will, like, the ball will start rolling after that. And so some of you might be able to create kind of like a money making machine that you only have to make once, and then it will keep giving you money or something. And but like, I'm also just getting this feeling that what's unique about you is that you have a financial sense, like you have a sense of finances and probably also marketing. Like you know how to make a business out of something, like taking some skill you have or some knowledge you have and making it into a business in some way. So yeah. But I think that's all I have for you, group number 6. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and if you did, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Bye. Hello, group number 7. You chose this Herkimer diamond, and when I think of the Herkimer diamond, I think of something that looks like a diamond but isn't a diamond. And so I think what's unique about you is that I think you have a way to make yourself look more I think you dress really well. I think you it looks like you have a very expensive taste when it comes to clothing and accessories and stuff like that. But really, I'm getting like this feeling that maybe some of you actually buy a lot of your clothes in thrift shops or something like that, but you like have an eye for like catching like the items that look expensive, that look like they that cost a lot, and I think you might also have like a talent for refurbishing, like taking old furniture and like making them look beautiful, like painting old furniture and or decorating old furniture, or something where you take something old and make it look new and expensive, and I think it's because you have you have a great eye for like seeing potential in things that other people might not see potential in. Like you can see like if you see something that's like if you see an item in a thrift shop and you think, and like with the first glance you can see that it's really dirty and rusty, and but you can tell if you can actually save it. Like you can tell before, like you can tell just by looking at it that that if you just clean it and clean the rust away, that it will be like, it will look like $1 million like when you're done with it. And I think you are just good at spotting things that that can become really beautiful just by some small adjustments. Like, and I think you have like the gift of seeing opportunities where others don't see opportunities, and that is like one of your one of the things that makes you so unique, that you can see things that other people don't see. You can see how things will turn out when you are finished with it. Like you can see the final result in your mind, where others just see like a dirt, like a pile of dirt. You see the final result as something really great, and yeah. This could also, like, some of you might also see people as projects as well, which might be a bit of like the negative side of that coin. Like you might take in strays, but you might also just like literally take in stray dogs or stray cats. Like if you see a stray dog or a stray cat, you want to nurse it back to health, and like you want to take it with you home, and like other people wouldn't think twice, or you wouldn't think twice, but other people would, if you get what I mean. Like you, other people wouldn't. I don't think other people necessarily would have like that. I think it's because you see the potential. You see how okay, this is a charity case now, but once I'm finished with it, it will be something else, like entirely. Like, but maybe also you may also do this with people. Like you might see some people that other people see as lost causes, and you see them as like maybe a bit of a project that you like, that if you sometimes you like, you might, I don't know, I'll ask the tarot more about not about this, but like what makes you unique. I'm not sure if I'm necessarily on the right track, but I want to ask the cards what makes group number 7 so unique. So with the sun here, which says rebirth, that makes a lot of sense with the sun, because I think many of you are very optimistic people in general. You see opportunities in everything, and that also makes you very positive and optimistic people. You're optimistic about I think you're just optimistic people. But with a rebirth, so some of you, like this could also be like the rebirth of the items that, like, you give new life to old things, like by refurbishing and by cleaning up old things and painting them and making them look new, and so by default making them giving them a rebirth. So I think that is something that makes you unique, is that you can give a rebirth to certain things, and probably also strays, giving things new life in general. But you might also have had a rebirth yourself, or maybe you've had more rebirths yourself. Maybe you also like to reinvent your own life a lot. Like you might move around a lot, and like every time, like maybe every time you get like stagnant in your life, like when you feel like it's getting old, like you might feel like things get old very quickly. Like if you've done something like that's beginning to become kind of routine for you, then I think you need to start doing something else. You need to get moving and begin a new project. Like every time you feel like something is starting to become too much routine, you want to start something completely new and start a new project and do something completely different than what you were starting to get comfortable with. I don't think your comfort zone is actually in what you feel comfortable with. Like I think your comfort zone is actually being uncomfortable in your life, with if that makes sense. Like I think you like it when you don't have everything figured out yet, when things are not routine, when things are not safe, and I think you like the element of surprise. You like to be surprised by what you do, and as soon as you feel like there's no more surprises in whatever you're doing, then you don't want to do it anymore, because then what's the point if you can imagine what will happen in like every day, that when you if it's like work, and you work at some place and you feel like every day is like the same, and like you wake up in the morning and you know exactly what is going to happen, and then you go to work and exactly what you thought would happen happens. And like if you get into that routine where there's no surprises and everything is just business as usual, then I think you have to move on to something else and do something that excites you more. I think you really I think you like excitement. You like it when things are not like, when things are surprising. And with the 9 of stones here, I think you're also very independent people, and that's also like the reason why you can like move on to something else every time you feel safe. It's because you are independent enough. Like, you don't depend on other people. You are very independent in your like, and so you can like, and that's also why you feel so more comfortable being uncomfortable, is because like comfort does lean a bit towards dependence, if that makes sense. Like if you are comfortable, it's likely because you are dependent on some other people. Not really, I know it's not completely right, but like but if something feels too safe, it's likely because it is safe, that it and like being uncomfortable often is like when we are like not dependent on anyone, and like can't rely on other people to like save us if we fall. And so being uncomfortable is being like independent, like in a way, because and so I think you like to be completely independent and not have like a safety net if you fall. Like you don't want to rely on anyone to save you if you fall. Like you want to be completely independent only, and because that is, I think it gives you some sort of element of like excitement. Like it's a bit thrilling to be completely out of your comfort zone. So yeah. But I also just think, like, I think you need to do something where you are where you're self-employed, because like, and that could be like something about, like, for instance, refurbishing, like, or I don't know. But I also think, like, because this person is teaching like another person, I think some of you are also so independent that you can actually help others, like, and teach others what you know. And so some of you could actually benefit from doing like or you could get some success by doing like do-it-yourself videos on YouTube where you show people how to give like old furniture new life or something like that. Or doing tutorials on YouTube. Or just in general teaching, but teaching people to do something with their hands, I feel like. Some of you could also be like good at, some of you could have like a flair for plants as well, like, but also like maybe taking like, maybe you like to take up like plants that are like dying and like trying to get them to life again, or like nurse like plants to life, I don't know, or just keeping plants alive just in general, like maybe you're really good at it. Or but with the world here, the dancer card, well, I don't think necessarily that like you're dancers, but you could be good at dancing, or not, but I think mostly like I'm looking at the picture here and it is a world also, and there's like a picture of food, and so some of you might be like also good at cooking, so you could like do recipes and tutorials about how to cook, but also like some of you might be really good at, this is like some very specific stuff, but and it might not resonate with like more than one of you, but you might be really good at organizing, and so maybe you could do like tutorials about how to organize your stuff or something. Like I think you're really good at organizing, but I also think like there's a globe here, and then there's like food from all around the world, and so maybe you are also just like really curious to like taste different kinds of food, or cook different kinds of food from like different countries, or learn how to cook food in like the traditional way, like do it as like people from that country does it, like authentically. You might even like if you watch cooking shows on YouTube or something, you might even watch cooking shows in like languages that you don't even know, but like but because you want to see how an authentic like person from that country does, how a person from the country where the dish is from, how they cook it authentically, like by following the traditions in that country, like, and so you might like to watch cooking shows from other countries where they speak other languages that you don't even understand, but it doesn't really matter because you can kind of translate the recipe by just kind of guessing what they are using and stuff like that. But I also think you are really interested in different cultures as well. I think you're also like really interested in traveling, and some of you might also be really good at geography, and maybe you've always been really good at geography because you've always had like a curiosity for like learning. Maybe you also speak different languages, like maybe you are like a maybe you taught yourself a lot of different languages just because it fascinates you to be able to speak different languages, and you're probably also really good at it. Like you might have like an ear for language, like you might just be able to pick up on different languages really easily. And so you could do tutorials about that on YouTube as well. Like, I don't know, some of you might not have any interest in making YouTube videos, so I'm just in a circle right now where some of you might be thinking, I'm never going to make a YouTube channel, so but some of you might. I'm getting this feeling that some of you might want to make a YouTube channel, and for those of you who want to do that, I think you should, because I think you have like, and you could also do it about languages. Like if you are into linguistics, or then you could just do tutorials about it. You don't have to be like perfect at it either, like, but I don't know. With the 6 of swords, or 6 of arrows here, I think, well, this is also about traveling from one place to another, and so some of you might also be really adaptable. You might adapt really easily to your environment. You might also have like no actual fear for like some people, when they travel to a different country, they have like a lot of fear revolving, like, oh, I can't, like, if people might be like afraid that they can't speak the language, or that they can't understand the language, or even like some people might be afraid that they don't know any of the places, or any of, like, when people might like, but because you are so comfortable in being uncomfortable, I think you really love to travel, because you don't have that fear of being in a place that seems unfamiliar to you, because unfamiliarity is comfortable for you. Like, you are comfortable with the uncomfortable, with being surprised, but also by the negative surprises, like getting into some not that like, I think you like challenges. I think you like to be challenged. You like, you also probably like to be told, like, I get like a very fearless energy here. Like, I think you dare to talk a language even if you are not completely sure that you talk it the right way, but you are open to like input from other people. You are open to have other people tell you, oh, you're saying this and this wrong, and you need to work on this and this, because you like to evolve as a person. You like to you like to like reinvent yourself. You like to also just become a better version of yourself all the time, and bettering yourself and becoming better at whatever you do, and that means that you have to be uncomfortable sometimes, because that's the way we grow as people, is when we are uncomfortable and when we are doing things that we don't know much about and that we are not very comfortable with. But because like when we do things that we are comfortable with, we are not getting challenged by anything, and we are just doing what we already know we can do, and then we don't try things that we don't know how to do, and then we never really learn those things. And so I think you also I get this feeling that like you like to watch a lot. Some of you like to watch YouTube, but who doesn't? Like, and so some of you might be subscribing to a lot of like educational channels, like also just channels that, like, for instance, Crash Course, maybe, and like I think you like to be challenged, you like to learn all the time, you like to watch things that you can learn from, and you could probably also do videos like that yourself, like if you wanted to, like take a subject or a topic and like educate people on YouTube about it if you know a lot about it, or something like. I think you could be good teachers with the Nine of Pentacles here, but I also just think you are very optimistic. You're always looking out at the horizon and seeing all the possibilities, and you don't get discouraged very easily just because you run into an obstacle, because like I think you see any obstacle as a challenge, like as something you can learn from, and I think that's a really, really fruitful outlook on life. And I think you're doing something like something right here, and I think you are right about like I think it's a very healthy outlook you have on life. So yeah, that is all I have for you, group number 7. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and if you did, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Bye.